When I started the Bible Scenes project, I put down a list of scenes that I would like to do, and one of them was the Temple Mount that existed when Jesus and his disciples lived. I knew it would be a massive undertaking and kept putting it off, but eventually decided that it would be the next project to do. Little did I know how much work was involved. I spent weeks researching and sourcing as much material and information as I could find. I think I looked at every YouTube video that had ever been made on the subject. Some of them were excellent and I gained lots of helpful information, but almost all had different ideas about the actual construction of the elements of the Temple Mount, and it was definitely a little confusing as to who had the best idea of how I should proceed. After much searching, I found the Rittmeyer Archaeological Design website. They had so much solid information on all the aspects of the design of the Temple Mount, all of which seemed to gel together so well. I was even able to purchase a whole set of valuable plans, drawings, images and information regarding the Temple Mount and the temple itself. I was then able to take those plans and drawings and put them in Blender, my 3D app, where I repurposed them to create a simple 3D version from which I could then begin to build the actual models themselves. I took each side elevation and cut it up into sections, almost like a cardboard cutout version. I then set about painstakingly recreating the Temple Mount, starting with the north wall with its entrance and the Pool of Israel. Then working my way around clockwise with the east wall with its entrances, stairways, walkways and towers. Next was the south wall with the various gates and windows, the buildings that were situated alongside, along with the walkway and main stairway leading up to the gates. It was at this end that the impressive Royal Stoa was situated. Along with the rows of marble columns and Corinthian capitals, you will note that I am currently a little short on the columns. Next comes the western wall with both Barclays and Robinson's Gate, Robinson's Arch and Wilson's Bridge. Then finally back to the northern wall where the Antonia Fortress stood with its view over the whole Temple Mount area. On the southern side, the gates also led beneath the Temple Mount's central area, with intricate patterned domes and arches which helped hold up the foundations of the Royal Stoa above. One of the hardest things about this project is attempting to be as faithful to what the original Temple Mount would have looked like. The layout, the brickwork, the scale, the pillars that held up the walls, what the various gates would have looked like. Many times I made something only to find out that I had got it wrong and had to redo it, whether it was the size of the brickwork or what style of doorway would have been used. I felt that I had a duty to get as close to what I hoped was the correct version as possible. There are various ideas on exactly what the Temple Mount would have looked like, but the Rittmeyer design was so comprehensive and well laid out that I decided to stick to their plan as much as I could. Lean Rittmeyer was even kind enough to respond to my constant questions about how things would have looked. Things like the lintels above the entrances, which I initially got wrong. She explained that they all have a hat-like design along with a slight outset. I've been working on it for months now, and although there is still a lot of detail yet to add, I have just completed the actual Temple Mount. What is exciting to see is how each part begins to fit together. Slowly we begin to get an idea of how everything would have looked. Having completed the surrounding walls and buildings, I am now beginning to work on the temple itself with its immediate surroundings. There is still a long way to go, but I am really pleased with how it's going so far. Once all the design and modelling is complete, then the next task will be to export everything to Unreal Engine, where I can begin to add all the extra details and props that will make the scenes more realistic. The last job will be to add people, which is in of itself a huge task. I will endeavour to keep you posted along the way, so look out for the odd image arriving in your mailbox from time to time. Thank you again for supporting me. I know that God will repay your kindness. May God bless you and keep you.